Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's Richawd back with another video. Now we're going to continue this conversation, man, because I like the results that it's getting so far. Not only the views, but the comment and the interactions that this conversation has been bringing. Because I feel like these conversations really need to be had. It's a lot of men out there who feel voiceless, and I'm glad that I'm a platform where it's a safe zone. You can voice your opinion. I'm not going to come on here. I'm not going to go in the comment section and bully you for how you feel. I'm not going to remove your comment for how you feel or anything like that. It's a safe zone. Now, if anybody else chooses to comment and say whatever they want to say, that's out of my control. But this is a place where you can come and you can voice certain problems that you may be having, and we can talk about it, because I know, these conversations can be difficult to have. Sometimes you really don't know who to talk to about these things. It's awkward to talk about it with your parents. It's awkward to talk about it with family. Most of your friends probably don't understand it, or they would judge you for it. So a lot of guys just suffer in silence. That's why a lot of these online forums or whatever, or these quote unquote online communities, are thriving so much, where men just come together and, voice their misery, pretty much voice what they're going through, voice their pain, and I hope, that I can steer a few more people in the right direction. I know it's a lot of guys that are just too far gone. It's nothing anybody can do for them. They have to want to do for themselves. But for those who still want to try, for those who still have dreams of, starting a family and, getting your own home and getting a good job and a good career and living the American dream, for those who still believe in the American dream and still believe in, living for something higher, living for a purpose, but you're just struggling right now. You're just struggling to find the woman to build with. You're just struggling to get into the career that you want. You're just struggling to find the peace and find yourself in order to attain these things. I want to be a voice and a source of, of reason for you guys, because, I'm going through a lot of the same struggles myself. I want to build a family. I want to get myself financially stable, and I'm not there yet. It's been many obstacles. It's been many mistakes that I've made along the way that have gotten me to this point. But I feel like through all the trial and error that I've gone through, I've gained a lot of wisdom, and I would like to share it with you guys. I know some of you guys, feel insecure, dealing with somebody like me. I seen in the comment section, somebody was calling me condescending. And that comment had a decent amount of likes. So I guess a lot of people feel like I'm condescending, which I've gotten that a lot. Condescending basically meaning arrogant or whatever. Y'all got to understand this, bro. You got to understand how I grew up. My father coached football, and he was a manager. He had a very authoritarian personality. He has a very deep voice, very commanding. That's just how I grew up, man. And my dad always had a great level of confidence in himself and whatever he was doing. He will always say in the work field that he was in, he was a sterile processing manager at a hospital. He felt like he was the best sterile processing manager there was, and he ended up making, when it was all said and done, he was making six figures and taking care of his family, built a career out of it, never went to college, or he went to college, but never got a degree, nothing like that. He just, took some classes, got some certifications, and got experience hands-on, you understand? And he was able to build himself up that way and turn his life around. My dad, I tell y'all, he was in the streets back in the day. He grew up on the south side of Chicago, and, he was involved in a lot of street stuff. His life could have went a totally different way. But, there was a shift and he turned things around. So I've just been programmed by my father to be confident. He's instilled that in, I believe, all his kids, to carry yourself with pride and with dignity and with respect, So if that makes me condescending to people, if that makes me seem arrogant, my dad at his jobs, certain people, certain coworkers will call him arrogant and this, that, and the third. but you got to pay the cost to be the boss, man. And my dad always tell you, hey, you can talk the talk, but you better back that shit up. He said, he said, for as much shit as I talk, I back it up. So the coworkers and all that, they can complain about me being arrogant and me being this and me being that, but everything I say, I do. And it was facts, bro. Everything he would say, he would do for the most part, bro. Nobody's perfect, but for the most part. So when you guys see how I operate on YouTube and why, I have a certain level of confidence in my ability to make videos. I have a certain level of confidence in the knowledge that I have and the knowledge that I can spread. I have a certain level of confidence and I feel like I can be a teacher. I feel like I am a teacher. You got to understand, that's just been instilled in me since I was a kid, bro. I understand some of your fathers, you may not have had a father, or you may not have had a father that taught you to be confident, taught you to, be competitive. That's one of the main things my dad instilled in his kids, to be confident and be competitive. Always strive to be the best. You understand? So that's just my mentality. Any other mentality to me is just a loser's mentality. So if you don't have the mentality that you want to be the head honcho, how you going to be the leader of a family if you're not confident in yourself? If you don't have a superiority complex, as you guys call it. All the people that be talking about superiority complexes, what I notice is they lack the confidence themselves, typically. They lack the belief themselves. So they see someone like me who has the confidence, who has the belief, and now all of a sudden it's a superiority complex. Now all of a sudden I'm condescended. Well, all I'm doing is dropping gems for you guys, right? All I'm doing is trying to help lead you guys in the right direction. Some of you guys may feel insecure because I call out some of you guys' flaws. It's because I'm trying to help you, bro. When I tell you look weak when you go on the internet crying out for help, I'm trying to help you, bro. Because I've been that weak person crying out for help, and everybody just looked at me as a loser. Everybody just talked about me, shamed me, damn near disowned me, bro. So I learned from experience, like, if you're feeling vulnerable and you're feeling weak, bro, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. That's all I was trying to tell y'all, for real. You know what I'm saying? All the incels or whatever out there, like, you got to pull yourself out of that boat. And what I'm seeing is a lot of you guys don't want to pull yourself out of that boat. You're lacking the will. Somebody in the comment section of my last video left a real good comment. He said a lot of guys are just lacking that willpower, bro. It takes willpower to, take control and take demand, over a situation. It takes willpower to get a woman, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of you guys don't have that will to go out and get what you want, bro. So you would never get it. And as a man, think if a man does. If you think that it's over and it's doomed and there's no point in trying, then nothing will ever go your way, bro. I understand the climate that we're living in. A lot of women are groupies these days. They just want to be around the dudes with motion and the dudes with money. Even if that dude with motion and money has 100 different girls, they want to be the 101 girl, and they want to try to compete for his attention and his resources. And some of them don't even want to compete. They just like being around a nigga. They just like being able to say, oh, I'm around a nigga with money. Like I said, a lot of these females are just groupies, bro. Fanned out, overly fanned out. You understand? So what you got to get is, there's certain categories that make it easy for you to get woman. And a lot of you guys feel like you're not in that category. I'm going to be real transparent. Let's be real. A lot of you incels, you probably don't have a big wood. Let's be real. And you go on the internet, bro, not having a big wood, it's like having a disease almost. It's like it's something wrong with you. You see how, and these females, like I said, a lot of these females out here are shallow, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a time where you would keep your intimate things intimate, or they would gossip, but they would like gossip with their friends or whatever. But now with the internet, bro, that gossip is on the internet now. Because what a female would do, typically if a female's with a guy and say he underperforms in the bedroom, what she would do is she would go to her mom or she would go to her friends or her aunts or whatever and be like, and she'll vent to them. You know what I'm saying? But it was a level of respect. Like, it was out there in the streets, but it wasn't just out there in the streets like it is now. Like, John's going on social media just straight exposing dudes for something that's out of their control. If a dude don't got a big wood, bro, that's out of his control. Just like if whether or not a dude is tall or not, that's out of your control. That all comes down to big God. Whatever God blesses you with, that's all you got, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of demonic, in my opinion, for certain females to be so heartless towards dudes for quote unquote underperforming or quote unquote not having a big wood. It's like I said, I'm gonna be real with y'all, bro. I'm not gonna come here and sugarcoat nothing. I understand why a lot of incels are incels, bro. Either you don't have a big wood, you're not tall, or both, and you just don't have any sex appeal, bro. Like that's what leads to you being an incel. But what I'm gonna tell y'all, bro, is are you at a disadvantage if you don't have a big wood? Absolutely, bro. You know, it's certain dudes, bro, like they ain't got no game, they ain't got nothing, bro. All they got to do, no diddy. All they got to do is walk around in some sweatpants, do some thirst trapping, because we talk about females thirst trapping, dudes thirst trap too. Walk around in some sweatpants, show off they print, and it's gonna be females lining up, bro. That's just how it works, bro. Life ain't fair, bro. That's just how it is, bro. So if you're not one of them dudes who can just lead with your Johnson, bro, you got to lead in other ways, bro. You got to find other ways. You got to be charming. You got to have resources. You got to have something else going for yourself to compete. Because like I said, it is a game where you have to compete. You have to make yourself stand out in some type of way. And your wood probably ain't going to be it. Let's be real. Your wood probably ain't gonna be it. And this is why a lot of dudes are tapping out, because you're on social media and you seeing all these females exposing dudes. Think about it. If a female exposes a dude for having a poor intercourse game, you know, certain words you can't say on YouTube or they'll flag you and make it hard for your video to get out there. If a female exposes a dude for not having good intercourse, understand this. That dude still hit, bro. A win is a win. A lot of you guys are not even hitting because you're not even trying, bro. You're being cowards. You fear the embarrassment, or you fear the failure of, oh, she may expose me to her friends, or, oh, she may expose me on social media. So what, nigga? Let her expose you, bro. At least you hit, bro. At least you hit, bro. You know, especially if she bad. At least, bro, it's baddies out here messing with dudes. Minute clinics, bro. Minute clinics, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like all type of stuff going on, bro. But you will go on social media and you will be deceived. Same way it'll be females on social media talking about they not dealing with this type of dude and that type of dude, and a dude need to be this tall and have this much money, and then you find out she dealing with some broke dusty, right? All he bringing to the table is wood. So you can't really listen to what these females are saying, bro. And then some of these females be dealing with dudes that don't got big woods, bro. You know what I'm saying? Not as heavily as typically. A dude who don't have a big wood, where they would get a chance with a female. Richawd, how do you know all these things, bro? I know females. I have sisters. I know. I've been put on game, bro. I've been put on game. You can take it or leave it. You can listen to this game, or you can go ahead and go back under your rock and go goon and go play some video games, right? But typically, how a dude who don't got a big wood would get a chance with a female who's attractive is she'll be going through it with her pookie, right? That's when you got to slide in. That's when you got to apply pressure. When you see she posting subliminal posts on social media, low key dissing her nigga, like, you know what I'm saying? Like when she's in that rebellious spirit, like females get rebellious Johnson, bro. Right? Females go out and get wood in a rebellious state. They just get angry, so they just want to piss their man off. You know what I'm saying? They feel like getting another body, you know, because maybe they may have caught their man cheating, or especially if they caught their man cheating. If they caught their man cheating, bro, 9 times out of 10, they finna go cheat, bro. They finna go cheat, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's just how it is, bro. But I'm gonna leave it like this because I don't want this video to drag on. A lot of you incels, either you don't have a big wood, so you're insecure. You feel like you don't stand a chance. You feel like once a female sees your wood, you know what I'm saying, she gonna turn you down. And some of these females will turn you down if your wood ain't big. You know, it is what it is, bro. You know, I've heard the stories, bro. It's dudes out here that I've been heartbroken. I'm put in all the work, finally got to the final boss, and she like, oh, that's all you working with? Oh, I can't be dealing with no little boy woo up the band. Like, she'll crush your spirit if you let her, bro. I understand. I've seen dudes they went from smiling and happy and to dark and miserable, bro, all over a girl, bro. Like you can never let a girl have that much control over you, bro. But understand this, there are some females out there that are shallow like that. They're not going to give you a chance. They're not going to give you the time of day. But there's some females out there that are sweet and are kind, and they'll still, if they like you enough, you know, they'll still deal with you, bro. And they won't make you feel insecure. If anything, they'll make you feel more secure about yourself, right? There are good women still out there, bro. who aren't just, shallow and vain. You understand? But social media will have you thinking all these females are shallow. You don't stand a chance. You go on adult websites, and all the dudes got no diddy. They Johnson is big, and you looking at they Johnson, and you looking at your Johnson, and you looking at they Johnson, and looking at your Johnson like, damn, I don't stand a chance. Social media will deceive you, bro. But the reality is dudes out here, like I said, minute clinics. They ain't there for a minute, maybe two, right? It's dudes out here don't got a big wood, still getting they rocks off, bro. Still got females that are willing to deal with them because they like them, bro. They like who you are. They like you as a man, bro. But social media ain't really gonna tell you that, right? It's females out here who got a man, got a small wood, but she love that man. She love that man to death because he a good man, right? Social media won't tell you that. Social media tell you all good men are losing, all good men are this, all good men are that. Bro, some of you guys just got to get off of social media, bro. Social media is really frying your brain. Social media will make anybody think they don't have a chance. You know what I'm saying? Social media is built to distract you and keep you on a lower frequency, right? So what you got to understand is you got to get off of the internet and get into reality, bro. A lot of you guys just end up coping. I seen somebody say, trying to deal with these women is a waste of time. X is overrated. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, this is a lot of coping going on, bro. Like, to me, a lot of dudes are just coping, because you don't have access to women. You don't have access to intercourse. So now to cope, you're going to be like, oh, I'm just focusing on myself, or if I'm horny, I can just goon. It's the same thing. This, that, and the third. It's just a lot of coping going on. When really deep down, you want a woman, bro. But you feel like you can't get one. So instead of having that willpower to go against the odds, to go against the grain, yes, it may be a little harder for you. Yes, if you're not very attractive, it may be a little harder for you. Yes, if you're not tall, it may be a little harder for you. Yes, if you don't have a big wood, it's going to be harder for you. But you got to have some willpower and go against the grain, go against the odds, and be like, you know what? I'm going to still find a way, bro. I'm going to still find a way, bro. And a lot of you guys just are lacking that will, that mindset of, you know what? The odds may be stacked against me. I wasn't dealt the best card, but I'm going to figure this thing out one way or the other, bro. And there's dudes out here who are figuring it out one way or the other. Got a woman, got kids, and they probably a 5 out of 10 on the scale, bro. But they had the will to still go out and get what they want. They wanted a woman, so they went out and got one. They wanted a family, so they went out and started one, right? They didn't let the world tell them that they were too ugly. They didn't let the world tell them that they were too short. They didn't let the world tell them that their wood wasn't big enough. They said, F all of that. I'm going to still go out there and find me a good woman that'll love me. And they went out and found that, bro. Real talk. Now, is it easy to find? No, but that don't mean you shouldn't try, right? That don't mean you shouldn't try. See, a lot of you guys just feel like you should be entitled to a woman. A lot of you guys feel like you should just exist, and you envy dudes that just exist and get women. Not every dude can just exist and get women, bro. It just is what it is, bro. Some dudes, all you got to do is exist. That's why certain dudes in the comment section like, I don't understand how you guys can't be getting women. Whoop the bam. Yeah, well, clearly you don't understand because all you got to do is exist. You've been getting women since you were a kid. It's always came natural to you. But have some empathy, bro. It's some dudes, it ain't come that natural to them. They weren't getting attention from when they was little. You know what I'm saying? So they've always struggled. It's always been a struggle for them. You understand? See, I have empathy, so I can empathize with a dude who may have had it hard. You understand? I'm not one of these, dudes that are damn near heartless, bro. Like, But my final point, because we almost 20 minutes in. Wherever you fall on this totem pole, and this is just something you got to look in the mirror with and deal with. Why are you an incel? Why are you a 30-year-old virgin? Is your wood small? You feel like you're ugly? You feel like you're not good? Like what's going on, bro? What's going on, bro? Because I got news for you. If you got a small wood, there's dudes out here with a small wood still getting booty. I got news for you. If you're not good looking, there's dudes out here not very good looking, still getting booty. Right? You may not be out here living like a bachelor, living like Chad and Tyrone, But that's where humility has to come in. You have to humble yourself and be like, you know what? This is my lane. Let me stay in it. And you'll be happy for it. You'll be happier for it. Because let me put you on some game. A lot of these quote unquote bachelor dudes, they not happy, bro. They not happy, bro, because they dealing with all these fast women, bro. These women be headaches, bro. Women trying to take their resources, bro. You know? So understand this. You got dudes like Travis Hunter, bro, who got a face only a mother can love, who's with a baddie, bro. Everybody want to talk about, oh, he getting used, he getting this, he just got shorty pregnant. Hey, man. How many of you guys would take Travis Hunter's girlfriend? I know I would take his girlfriend. She bad. You feel me? She bad. Now, would I wife her up and all this and that? Probably not, but you feel me? You can't really be mad at the nigga. Like I said, he got a face only a mother can love. Clearly, he was the type of dude, some of you guys would know this, like he was the type of dude in high school, he was real talented at sports, but had no game. I remember there was some guys in high school on the basketball team, football, they was real good at sports, but they ain't had no game. They ain't getting no baddies, bro. You feel me? And it was dudes riding the bench getting all the women, bro. You feel me? So, like, clearly Travis Hunter was one of them dudes, bro. He wasn't really getting booty like that. Like, clearly, bro. You know, so, hey, he done found him what he feels a diamond in the rough, and he locking in, bro. But my point being, bro, there's always a way. Like, niggas gonna hate on niggas like Travis Hunter. Niggas gonna hate on niggas like Russell Wilson. But there's always a way, bro. There's always a way, and you can find your happiness. You can find your peace. You just have to silence all the noise out there. There's a lot of noise out there. You gotta silence it, bro. Who cares? Who cares who feels that you're ugly, or who cares? It's gonna be dudes hating, bro. It's gonna be dudes trying to take your girl. It's always gonna be an obstacle, bro. That's just the life we're in. That's just the world we're in. You gotta fight back, bro. You gotta fight back, bro, or it's gonna eat you alive. This world is full of wolves looking for people with vulnerability so they can abuse those vulnerabilities to their benefit, bro. So understand, when you're vulnerable, you're putting yourself in a position to be abused. And all I'm trying to do is help you guys not be so damn vulnerable. It's cool to express yourself a little bit. If you're in a dark place, if you're struggling, to cry out for help. Because there's dudes who didn't cry out for help, and now they on a t-shirt, now they on a tombstone. I don't want you guys to end up like that, because you know what I'm saying, you didn't go get help. I want to help y'all. All right? Oh, you're condescending. Oh, you're arrogant. Oh, you're this. Who are you? That's just that loser mentality, bro. Because I'm gonna say this, bro. For all you guys who say I'm condescending and I'm arrogant, I remember my friends from Cali, you know, they felt I was this way. They felt I was arrogant and this and that. And whole time they just had a loser mentality, bro. That's all it was, bro. And I was trying to pull them out of that and you know what I'm saying, let them get some balls and some cojones, but they just ain't have it in them, bro. Some of y'all just don't got it in you, bro. You feel me? And hey, hopefully this is a pep talk. Hopefully this will inspire you. But a lot of you guys, like I'm the type of nigga, I'm inspired by failure. I'm inspired by shortcomings. I'm inspired by pain, bro. You know, that inspires me to overcome and to do better and to come out on top on the other end. A lot of you guys, bro, that shit just defeats you, bro, and you just give up. And that's the climate of a lot of men these days. A lot of men have just given up, bro. You know, they've went through some failures, they've took some losses, and they never bounce back from it. And they don't want to bounce back from it. They don't believe they can. Right? But to all the people who say I'm arrogant and I'm condescending, name one great person who wasn't arrogant, bro. Or Richawd, you think you're great? Hell yeah, I think I'm great. And you should think you great too, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with thinking you special. Oh, you're nothing special. You're no better than me. I don't know, bro. I don't know, bro. Because with that mentality you got, I think I am better than you. Right? Call me arrogant for feeling that way. But I'd be damned if I'm walking around with a loser, gooner mentality. Like, I'm going to just goon and be a loser the rest of my life and just play video games. And what was they saying? Buy computers and all this narcissism. Oh, I'm gonna just invest in myself. Cool, that's cool, but you're gonna be lonely. Man should not be alone. Man should not be alone. Y'all can continue to cope and be like, oh, I'm happier alone. I'm happier not dealing with women. No, you're not, bro. That's why you gotta go and you gotta go pay for women, bro. Because you're not happy, bro. It's still a void that's missing. It's still a void that your left hand or your right hand can't fill, right? I'm just being honest with you guys. And hopefully I can help steer y'all in the right direction, bro. But I understand a lot of y'all are just soft and sensitive And y'all struggle dealing with an authoritarian figure like myself, bro, who's going to tell you what you need to hear and don't care whether you like it or not, right? Because that's how you really get helped, bro. You know, the people that are helping you cope and telling you what you need to hear, those are the people that just want to profit off of you, bro. Real talk. I'm not just here to profit off you guys. I'm here to actually help. You understand? But it's all going to start with a mindset, bro. Bottom line, bro, you gotta change your mindset, bro. And you gotta have some will. You gotta have some dog. Like, man, to hell with the odds. You gotta have that LeBron James down 3-1, one game at a time. We finna come back and we finna win. You understand? You gotta have a winner's mentality, rather you're up 3-1 or rather you're down 3-1. You gotta believe that you're gonna win in the end. And if you lose, you gotta pick yourself up and come back even stronger, bro. That's just life, bro. Until the day we drop, that's just life, bro. It's all about winning or losing. And sometimes you go through a season where you lose. That's cool. You know, some teams, they go seasons, they only win 11, 15, 20 games out of 82, right? They go through those losing seasons and then, you know, they rebuild through the draft. They pick up some free agents. You know, they reinvent themselves. And now look at them winning 60, 65, 70 games, winning championships, right? But I'm going to drop my phone. But it all starts up here, bro. What this shirt say? Fuck. It say reason. What is your reason, bro? Find and figure out your reason, bro. Because without that, you're cooked.